Hello kittens, I'm sure you weren't expecting to see me. My name's Kitty Powers. Welcome to the EGX 2014 Developer Sessions. Today we've got a wonderful demo of the game Tearaway Unfolded, and to show you it we've got the lovely Michelle and Rex from Media Molecule.
Well, thank you, Kitty. Very nice to be here. Thanks for coming. And hello to everyone on the internet as well. We are going to take you through a little bit of Tearaway Unfolded today. Not going to have any slides apart from this one. We're just going to get stuck in with the gameplay and show you kind of how our adaptation of Tearaway has kind of blossomed on PS4. So if we go into the game now, there we go, and you can see Maypole Fields, which was an area on the Vita, which, you know, we've expanded this scene out. This particular scene is 50% larger than it was previously, and we've really been able to go to town with like lots of extra detail, being able to show more of the environment and see more scenery, find more side challenges, and find things that, you know, a lot of the things that you would expect in Tearaway, like being able to add to the world and use the papercraft. So if we talk to this mama here. See, we're going to need some butterflies, so I'm going to try and do a bit of live butterfly creation. Lo and behold, we bring some butterflies back to the world, and you know, that's something that we're pushing further on PS4. This feeling that you can, although you're going through our story and this world that we've created, we want all players to be adding their own little bits of customization, which gradually build up, and you see the world like changing as you progress through it, and you know, you see more of your own creations coming through, and you know, you feel like it's very much your world. So we're now going to move into a section, the barn, which you may have seen previously on the Vita. But we're going to be showing here how one of the core interactions has changed. It's been very important to us for this adaptation of Tearaway to really make the most of the DualShock 4 as well as the PlayStation 4. You know, it's not just the increased power that lets us play the game at 60 frames a second at 1080p. It's what we could do with the controller this time, what new ways we could reach into the world and change and affect it. Obviously on Vita it was a world that you held in your hands, and what we're playing with on the PS4 is a world that you're playing inside of your TV, and you're sort of looking into this world, and you're having various interactions that travel back and forth. So you'll see here how Atoir, she's holding this acorn and she's facing away from us. But if Michelle raises up the pad, she turns around. She's aware that we're out here. And she actually throws that object out of the game, and it lands in the controller. You can throw things back and forth. If they're inside your pad, if you give it a shake, you can hear them in there. I think that's picking up on the microphone. The color of the light bar also changes. And obviously you could just throw things back and forth for a long time, but we want to have some slightly bigger interactions, so there you see how you can use that to catapult yourself through the scenery. Being on PS4 as well, we can do a lot more with physics, so we can have a lot more boxes being flung around and have like more dramatic effects. You'll see as the objects come out of the game, we actually apply this kind of TV effect You know, we want to make sure that when the object comes out of the game feels like, you know, it's sort of returned back to a TV program, and all the focus is on what's happening in your pad at that moment. We're sort of thinking about whether we could do other things of, like, you know, playing around with the volume levels or switching channels, or, you know, really kind of playing with this sense of it being a game in a television. So here we have the drum pads, which, as Michelle pushes down on the pad, you see how it pushes down and then pops back up again when you release. Which we can, you know, push a lot further. We can have, you know, a lot more objects in the game. Like there's kind of more cauliflowers than you could ever want, kind of rolling around there. And using the drum pad, you know, able to like flip them up into the air and make a pathway through the scenery. And then another aspect of the DualShock 4 that we really wanted to make the most of was the touchpad. We didn't want to just use it for like scrolling a map around or, you know, doing some of those kind of things. We really wanted it to be very, very integral for the gameplay. So you can see as Michelle's swiping on the touchpad, it's sending these gusts of wind into the world, which we represent with the paper streamers. And these particular scraps, the enemies, as she's swiping, they're being knocked out of the scene, you know, sort of catching them off guard. So you can flip them over. But also, pressing on the touchpad also just opens the trap door. So you've got various different ways of dealing with them. We really wanted to push this a bit further than we previously could, and make sure that all of the interactions that you're having on the DualShock 4, you know, you can play around a lot more with the creatures. So this particular squirrel, once we throw it into the touchpad, it's going to live in there for a while. It's not coming out, unlike some of the other things that you throw back and forth. It's kind of hanging out in there. You can see how the touchpad, the glow light has gone the color of the squirrel, and if you stroke the pad, you can kind of hear it kind of softly purring. Does squirrels purr? And while it's in the touchpad, we can use it to send acorns out into the world. We're playing around with some ideas. Like, I've been jamming on some ideas with our audio designer about having the squirrel actually singing along to the soundtrack while it's in your pad, which I think would be really cute. I don't think he's quite excited about having to sing the whole song as a squirrel, but we're also introducing, all the way through the adventure, we're putting new areas of content in. Some of them quite small, some of them, you know, more larger side areas. This particular cheese is a new section. We realized the other day that it's actually kind of interesting if we let the squirrel pick you up when you're in a ball. You know, you're the size of an apple. They can throw you around. It kind of makes the squirrels, even though they're your friends and they just love to throw things around, it makes them a bit more challenging because they're just trying to pick you up and play sort of throw and catch with you all the time. So I think we'll move on to another section in the barn now. We'll just skip forward. I think that bit probably shows like a way that we've rebuilt the gameplay in that particular section so that it's quite close to what we had on the Vita in terms of the story, but you're using a very different way of interacting with the scene. But we're also building out a lot more new areas that are quite different. There's a particular section here I really like where if we just get through these boxes, which these mummers have carefully placed for us. We've just ruined all of their box stacking plans. So here you can see how the cauliflowers are over on the right-hand side, and you're using the drum skin to bounce them over the gap, and then throwing out the acorns to then throw back into the game to then trigger the drawbridge. And then over here, you can see some new side content where the light from the DualShock 4 is shining into the world. You can see how the triangular shape of the light is actually being shone into the world and help the messenger navigate through the environment. This doesn't use the camera. It's based on the gyros, so that's not a requirement. But we really hope that people will use the PlayStation camera to add more photos and play around with the game content a little bit more. We're having a lot of fun at the moment, particularly on the animation side, of adding lots of animations of how the creatures in the world react to this godly light source that's being shined into their world. It's obviously quite surprising to them to suddenly have this beam of light shining down on them. So we've been experimenting with having characters that are all they'll suddenly, once they see that light on them, they'll get down on their knees and start frantically praying to you, or some of them will be shy and kind of run away from you. And it's a really nice way that we can just play more with the characters and give like a more more emergent feelings while you're playing. I've also made it a bit harder on this section. It's quite nice. Have to speed run it. I would go the other way.
Okay.
And then we build up to a new ending to the level. Now that the level is longer, we wanted to change the atmosphere more at the end, make it feel really dark and spooky, like you've gone further than any other characters have really progressed. And you can use the light to light the candles, gradually kind of reveal more of the environment. Some really cool bats there. And there's one of our characters from the Vita version, which was the pumpkin, which you customize and add your own sound effects to. On PS4, we can't guarantee everyone's got a microphone, but we're playing with some nice ideas of how you can customize their voice, creating like a sort of audition system, really, of making them. Wow, that is a nice pumpkin. And we'll be following that pumpkin on up to Gibbet Hill, but with some new twists and turns where you're getting on a paper plane and flying through the environment and exploring the wider environment between these two locations. So I think what we'll do is we'll just move on again to somewhere a little bit further on in the game, which is all new, as a wrap up, and then we can have a few questions if anyone's got any to fire at us. So here we'll be showing a little bit of Sogport, the second region of the game. It's a small island, but this time round we've been able to make more of the sea. We really wanted to use the extra power of PS4 to really create powerful oceans that you can see all the way that all the paper waves are all bending and flowing, and by swiping on the touchpad, which requires quite a lot of swiping on the touchpad in our tests earlier, I was just saying, they can completely envelop you. So you need to really power on the wind to hold back the waves. You can do it. There we go.
I think now we've
Please.
got a promising group.
The ironic thing is I can't actually swim, so let's see how I get on. No. Oh. So we have a new power called the debug cam, which enables you to teleport around the environment, but only if you're on the development team. Ta-da! That might not make it into the final game. And you can see here how all the little bits of paper are all pressing down as we move. We've also got the depth of field as well, which I think really helps, set the scene, and you get the crispness of the paper, but also we're able to show a greater draw distance. And by swiping on the wind this time, we're able to part the sea so that we can make it all the way through to this little island. And then finally, using the wind is a great way that we can now that the world is a bit bigger, we wanted to be able to move through it more quickly and in a more kind of dramatic way. So we have the paper plane, which you can steer with the sticks in a traditional way, but also swipe on the touchpad to send these gusts of wind into the world. And here you can see the new version of the harbour, which has a lot more detail. It's sort of at least twice as big as the Vita version. You can see the amount of detail in the scenery, the amount of movement. We've been able to add a lot more kind of back alleys to explore and side challenges to do and more creative input that you can have, so that it really feels like a world that you're adding to a lot and you're exploring a lot more. And it kind of sums up the name of the game of Tearaway Unfolded. We've unfolded more of the scenery and been able to expand it all out thanks to PS4 and lots of hard work and thinking about how we could do that. So there we go. That's Tearaway Unfolded. Maybe I think we hopefully might have a few questions to ask us, and let's do that.
Okay, we're going to bring a mic out into one of the aisles, and if you've got a question, just line up behind the mic and make sure. Oh, we're going to bring your mic out into
Stage
each aisle.
invasion. Hi.
Yeah. So James Spafford, or Spaff,
Hi, everyone.
is here to join us as well.
Just in case Rex forgets something about his game. And
Yeah.
needs some
It's
help.
like, yeah.
Cool. If you guys have a question, just line up behind a mic. And yeah, when you are ready to ask your question, please lean in nice and close and speak loudly. Any questions?
We'll give you a kiss if you ask a question.
Wow.
Well, Rex will. It's
Will
quite beard.
kiss?
It's a beard, yeah.
This is not helping.
Is there any possibility of a Tearaway 2 on the Vita?
I don't know. Maybe. You know, we don't really know kind of what the future plans for Tearaway. I mean, we're very we put a lot of effort into making the paper engine all bespoke. So you know, obviously we want to be able to use it as much as possible and you know tell more tales with it. So you know, we'll just have to see. But obviously, focus at the moment is on Tearaway Unfolded and making sure that we can really really do Tearaway justice on PS4 and make sure that it connects as much with PS4 players as it did with Vita players.
I think we're also just really big fans of this world that we've made, and we love these characters, and I don't think we want them to go anywhere. We just don't know where their adventures will take them. With Little Big Planet, we made one, and then we made another one, and then it's kind of spawned out and gone all over the place, so we don't really know where this will take us. Somewhere cool, hopefully.
Over here.
In the first game, I really liked my growling scarecrow that I had throughout, and he was really terrifying. How much are you going to miss out upon if you don't have the mic and the camera from the PS4?
Well, I mean, you know, we sort of encourage players to use the mic and the camera if they have them, because I think, you know, that's like the most perfect way of just instant customization. You know, there's no kind of, you don't need any menus to operate your own vocal cords to make a sound. You know, it's kind of very natural. But we're currently experimenting with ways to allow players to like change the voices of characters based on almost like you're like a casting director and you're telling them, oh, can we make it a bit scarier or a bit happier, or you know, so you can still get a kind of connection with the characters. It's just up to you. But you know, I would definitely encourage players to get a camera so that they can get all of that stuff in instantly, and you know, and also if they're like streaming their playthroughs on Twitch or somewhere, then it makes it a lot funnier as well, because they're kind of playing along as one of the characters in the game by seeing their face in the sun and all of those elements. So it's kind of up to them. But yeah.
Okay, another question over this side.
Yeah, hi. Is there any chance of any sidekick characters appearing in the Unfolded version, like there was in the Vita?
I mean, we don't currently have plans for like a new sidekick characters, but you know, we're looking at new ways to let you interact with those ones that are very different. Like, for instance, the baby Wendigo from Vita, you can, you know, use the light on it to guide it around, and you know, and you get very new forms of animation and emotion from these characters by, you know, they might not have fingers like tearing up through the floor anymore to surprise them, but they're being surprised in different ways that, you know, we're getting a whole bunch of other gameplay and kind of, I don't know, testing their emotional range of how they deal with all these situations that you're now throwing at them.
Okay, my Wi-Fi has just come back up, so those of you watching on Twitch, if you have a question, post quickly in the chat now and I might be able to ask it. We've got another question over here.
When you throw items in the controller, can you have multiple items in here, or is it just the one?
It's just one, because we didn't want you to have to go into a menu to select which, you know, there's not like an inventory in your controller. We wanted to make it feel very immediate. But obviously, like sometimes we have things where like that squirrel gets inside your controller and it won't come out for a while. And, you know, it doesn't matter how many times you swipe, it's just going to throw acorns out. It's just sort of set up home in there, and it's kind of, you know, I guess it's probably quite cozy in there. So, yeah, well, I mean, we're kind of playing around with which characters can be thrown in and out of the game. You probably saw in the demo all of the cauliflowers that are, you know, they're quite large, and we had a bug in the game recently where there was one cauliflower in the game that you could pick up, and you're not supposed to be able to pick it up. And I threw it into the controller. And it was amazing, because it's so big, it felt like a sort of smart bomb of like throwing this enormous cauliflower in. Like the whole game is just waiting for like little acorns. They were like, what's this coming in? So there's a lot of fun of how big we make things. I mean, I don't know whether we'd be able to throw an elk into a controller. There's, we kind of have a bit of a heritage of going pretty crazy and weird by the end of our games. So I can imagine some pretty big things that get thrown in and out of there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a question from Twitch here. Jamie Riot says, "Hi guys, huge fan of Media Molecule. Tearaway on the Vita had a big emphasis on using the camera and sharing your photos online. What social features will Tearaway Unfolded have?"
Do you want to answer that one?
I think it makes sense. So the camera will be back, but we're going to expand it, aren't we? There's the new tripod camera thing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually seen the latest incarnation of that, so maybe you should take it from there. But we really want people to the Vita isn't maybe necessarily the best thing to share things from. It's not as connected as the PS4. The PS4 has a big button on it that just says share. So we want to implement as much as possible in that and let people kind of share their adventures with their friends and with their family. Can you tell us about the new camera, or are we not? We're not going there yet.
Maybe not.
No, I don't think we've proved it enough yet. But we want
We've
to
got the new debug cam.
So we want to take that little camera that Iota and Atoa had and just make it a bit more exciting for PS4. And I don't think we've quite landed on what that will exactly mean, but it should mean like hopefully more options for things you can share, more things you can do with that.
And also sharing it all on the web on tearaway.me so that Vita and PS4 owners can sort of congregate all their photos together. And their papercraft collections and all of that other good stuff. Yeah,
we need to work more on getting people to share their papercraft collections. Lots of our fans have been making all the bits and bobs from the world and sending them to us. And Tearaway.me allows them to kind of host that collection up there. So we'll hopefully have some more papercraft plans for people to make. And then, more exciting outside the game creativity as well as inside the game.
Another question over here.
Hi. Quick question based off the creative aspects creation of the Vita.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if there's going to be some cross-platform features. For example, I had my elk. I actually took a picture of the London bus, fabric, and I love my elk. And I would love to be able to have my London bus elk back in PS4. So am I going to be able to share what I've created in Vita in the PS4 game?
Texture. It's quite a lovely common...
Yeah, it was kind of red and blue and white, and it made my elks look really awesome in the colours and stuff. So I really want to keep that in PS4, if possible.
That's cool. I think we've seen a lot of kind of chair texture elks on the site. There's lots of people travelling around that need a nice, interesting texture, and it's either, some denim, or a crazy pattern from a train. Rivaled only by hotel carpets for kind of
a lot of those.
weird, unusual patterns.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to jump in with another quick question from Twitch. Sedative asks, any extra bonuses for owners of the Vita game or any connected content for the two?
I think it's basically the same question.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to reward players that have already played some Tearaway and get some extra nice bonuses and little secrets and things that sort of rewards the fact that they have been on a similar journey before.
Another question over here.
Hi, I was wondering if there's any form of local multiplayer going to be part of the game?
Well, so there's not actually multiplayer, but we always like to use the kind of get out of jail card here that it is already a kind of co-op adventure. So you're, sitting on your sofa, and then you've got your little friend inside the game that knows you exist, and they can throw things to you and wave at you. And so when you're going on this, technically a single-player adventure, you never really feel like you're on your own. You feel like you're on this adventure with someone else. So it's kind of co-op, but it kind of isn't. Having said that, I think the team is working on maybe some ways to have someone else join in with some of the fun as well. Perhaps someone else can put wind into the game whilst you're running around or something.
Yeah, have some influence on the environment while you play.
So that's something we're kind of playing around with at the moment. We haven't quite worked it out.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right. Well, oh yes, we've got one more.
At least it's not one of those ones from Twitch. You don't know who to address from the ether.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
So I have a question. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like with Little Big Planet, you've left it to another team to develop, and you're now focusing on Tearaway. It might be that you see a lot of potential in this game. Does that mean we'll be seeing a long period of development into this game, and eventually Little Big Planet will fade away?
I don't think Little Big Planet's gonna go anywhere. I mean, if you walk around the show downstairs, you'll see lots of Little Big Planet fans everywhere, and Little Big Planet 3 has a big showing. And we didn't give it away just because we didn't love it anymore. We're just such a small team that if we want to do some other things, we can't hold that many balls in the air, basically. So Tearaway, well, it shouldn't be that much longer, although we've had to rebuild the entire game from scratch to make it look prettier. We kind of knew what we were doing. Most of the development time of Tearaway was figuring out what on earth we were making, and then the last kind of third of it, we were like, okay, let's make the game now. And so we're kind of only having to do, a smaller development for that. We're also working on another PlayStation 4 game, which we haven't properly announced yet. We showed a bit of it at the PS4 announcement, which was last January. It's quite a while ago now. But hopefully we'll be able to talk more about that soon as well. So we've got these two things that we're working on side by side.
Great, thank you.
Okay, last question has been asked quite a lot on Twitch. Any release date?
I guess we could probably say next year.
Nice and specific.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, unless there's any more questions for, thank you very much to Rex and Michelle and James.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.